The next principle is Interface Segregation Principle (ISP). The ISP states that the clients should not be forced to depend on interfaces they do not use. So this principle emphasizes that interface should be specific to the needs of the clients that use them. So what it says, instead of creating one large interface, we should segregate the interface into multiple interfaces so that based on the client needs, they can implement whichever the interface suits to them. Let's understand it by an example. We have an interface called animal. The animal interface have methods fly, run, eat. Okay, there could be other methods inside it. So whichever the class that is going to inherit it, let's say the lion is inheriting the animal class, the lion cannot fly. So we are forcing the clients to implement this interface. Okay, so that's violating the ISP. Instead, we can create different interfaces. We can create iBird, iAnimal. Okay, so the birds can fly, the animals they can run. So we can implement the interface something like that. So this helps in keeping dependencies between classes minimal and ensure that classes only depend on the methods they actually use. Let's do the hands-on or example and we'll implement the ISP. So the ISP says that we should not create the larger interfaces, we should create the smaller interfaces so that the clients they are not forced to implement the methods or the properties that they are not supposed to. In our example, we have the iCatalog item as well as the iLibrary service. This iLibrary service, it cannot be broken down because it has only two methods, check and run, and they are related to the service. But if we talk about the iCatalog item, don't you think we can break it? So if you see the implementation of book and the DVD, we are forcing these classes to implement this is check allowed. Okay, because we have the reference book added and we want to set it to false. Okay, but there is another solution that we can implement to overcome this issue. So let's break our interface into smaller interfaces. I'll be creating more interfaces here. Let's create a new interface. I'll create iItem interface. So this iItem interface will have all the common properties such as every book, every DVD, or every service that will be added later in the future, it will have the title, right? So we can put the title here. Let me copy this one only. Okay, now if you see here, we have two options. Either the items are checked out or we cannot check out the items, they are only accessible within the library. So we can create two interfaces. Okay, and we can call them let's call it I checkout. Okay, and we can create another interface that would be non-checkout items. Okay, now this checkout item and non-checkout, they will inherit the I item because this is common for all the interfaces. Now the I item would have the is available property, right? This is no longer needed, and I non-checkout would have maybe new property is assigned already or something like that. Okay, though it's not here, but we can add it, is assigned. Okay, now we have broken our interface into smaller interfaces. Let me delete this one. Okay, now in the iLibrary service, this for checking out the books or the DVDs, we should have the iCheckout interface. Okay, so let me copy this one here as well. Okay, it's done. Then in the implementation, I'll copy and paste it here. We'll see how we can change this one as well. Let's come to the books. We have the I checkout, and if you see here, this check is not allowed. We can delete this one. We can also make the changes I non-checkout here, and let me delete this one as well, and we can implement the title as well as the is assigned. Okay, the title would be the title we are passing, and is assigned would be true. Okay, so that's it. For the DVDs, we can again implement the iCheckout interface. We can delete the checkout allowed. Now this is done. Now when we talk about the library service, we are using the iCheckout, so we don't have to check if the item is available for checked out or not, because it would be available. We are making sure of that. Okay, let me refactor the code. Okay, I think that's all for now. Let me run this and we'll see if it works. See, it's working fine. And if I pass the DVD instance, it should work as well. Now observe one thing, when we pass the reference book, it will not allow it because it's accepting the parameter as iCheckout and the reference book is not implementing the iCheckout. So this is the way that we can implement the ISP, and now we have multiple interfaces. Now if new service is being added to the library, and if it is checkout item, then we can use this interface. If it's non-checkout item, then we can use this interface. Okay, this property, if we want, we can add it, we can delete it if it's not required. Okay, we can create another interface. Maybe we can call it I non-checkout properties, so there we would have the common properties related to the non-checkout items. So that's all for now. I'll see you in the next video where we would implement the last principle of our series. So thank you. Bye bye.